This is KGW News at Sunrise.
We'll expect longer travel times at the Portland airport over the next few weeks. Kids are on spring break, and with many pandemic restrictions lifted, a lot of families planning on traveling. We're going to have more on how PDX plans to handle the more than 1 million people who plan to use the airport over the next few weeks.
We're also following what could be a historic decision for the U.S. Supreme Court. Confirmation hearings begin today for nominee Ketanji Jackson Brown. More on the review she's getting from both sides of the aisle.
And tackling food insecurity, how a local program is working with students to make sure they don't go hungry over spring break.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Lots of families here in Oregon, at least, on vacation this week. They're definitely looking at your weather forecast.
Should we call Drew? He's taking spring break off. Should we call him and see if he's up?
Wake him up?
Yeah, let's do it. Here's a look at a wet radar. Oh, my goodness. This will be a steady rain day. You can see this ball of moisture. Eugene's the southern end of it. Then it scoots all the way up into Seattle. Right now, temperatures are near 32 at pass level in the Cascades, but it will become all rain all the way up through Timberline Lodge today. Here's the solid rain on the radar. Temperatures right now 44 degrees. Nothing stormy today, just rain all day long. Here's the bus stop weather for Washington, if you will. 45 degrees out the door, 49 degrees at noon. Still raining and 52 when the kids get out of school later today.
Rod, thanks. I feel like it never fails. Spring break, it does rain. I remember being in school, and that might be a good reason to get out of town. Maybe you already have plans because it is spring break week in Oregon.
Yes, sorry, Washington. Yours still 2 weeks away, but spring break also means it's going to be busy at PDX. Devin Haskins is joining us this morning with what you need to know if you're traveling.
Hey, you know what? I'm a Washington resident, so maybe all this rain will go away by the time our kids' spring break happens in 2 weeks. But yes, busy is right. PDX says by the time spring break wraps up on April 10th, around 1 million people will actually travel through Portland's airport. And not only do you have spring breakers heading out for this week, but all those that were in town for the NCAA tournament are leaving the city as well. St. Patrick's Day was projected to be the busiest day of the spring break travel period that runs from March 17th through April 10th. More than 44,000 people came through PDX on Thursday. That's above the daily average, which is closer to 35,000. And if you ask airport staff, they say this is all a welcome sight.
It's really wonderful seeing people excited about traveling. They want to get out, they want to reconnect with friends and loved ones, they want to go to sunny destinations. So there's a lot of joy in that, and there's lots of smiles, even behind the masks. We can still see the smiles, so that's really fun.
Yeah, those masks, don't forget them because the TSA extended the federal mask mandate to April 18th. Brenda?
All right. Getting back to normal, though, a little bit. Thank you, Devin. Well, with COVID restrictions dropping, teens are getting a little more freedom during spring break this year, but that can also lead to risky behavior. Tim Gordon is talking with experts about safety and mental health.
After 2 long years, the pandemic is waning as kids leave classes for spring break. That is good news, but added freedom can mean teens returning to unsupervised, risky behavior. So parents should return to normal parenting strategies. According to child and adolescent psychiatrist Heather Adams, it starts with keeping track of them.
We know when they're expected to be back. We know who they're with. We know how to get a hold of them. And then having a backup plan if we can't get a hold of them that way.
We've been talking a lot about opioids and the extreme danger of fentanyl, often loaded in deadly doses in counterfeit pills. 2 teens in Portland died this month of suspected fentanyl overdoses. As hard as this topic is, awareness and communication are the first steps, says Stephen Dunleavy with Multnomah County.
So we really would encourage parents to kind of take the initiative to kind of learn more about the current drugs that are in the community and the impact they're having, and then to really kind of initiate conversations with their children.
Hopefully there are fun times for your family. Getting outside together is good for your body and spirit. But if your kid isn't into doing anything, it could be a red flag.
If your kids aren't excited about spring break, then we want to watch out for mental health concerns they could be struggling with.
Dr. Adams says spring break or any time, watch for low mood, anxiety, isolating, and sudden behavior changes. All could be signs your kid needs help. That help may come from a mental health professional, but it can also help to simply come together.
Play games, have friends over, have family meals. But again, I think the real message is really try and spend time connecting Because we know, again, when you're connecting, you feel better. And when you're isolating, that usually exacerbates feeling depressed or anxious.
Go enjoy your kids, hang out with your kids, hang out with your kids' friends, and get to know them and have a good time. But just do it without drugs and alcohol.
Tim Gordon, KGW News.
There are several ways to reach out for help if you or someone you know needs it. The Multnomah County Call Center is 503-988-4888. The Oregon Youth Line is 877-968-8491. You can also text Teen to Teen to connect with somebody. And if you didn't catch all of those numbers, we have them in Tim's story on KGW.com.
Turning now to the war in Ukraine, Russian forces continue to take aim at civilians, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is calling the latest round of attacks against his country war crimes. An art school turned shelter in Mariupol was ripped apart by missiles, with 400 people sheltering inside. And in Kyiv, homes and a shopping center are in ruins following the latest attack.
It's unbelievable. I never see Kyiv like this, like now, what is going on. We have destroyed house, bomb, sea, and that's it.
Kyiv's mayor is encouraging soldiers on the front lines to hold their ground while other troops and volunteers prepare to patrol the capital city. It's pressure that seems to be working. U.S. defense officials saying Russian ground troops are moving at a slower than expected pace. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, a historic week kicks off today. Confirmation hearings for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman nominated to the Supreme Court, get underway. President Biden picked Judge Jackson to replace retiring Justice Stephen Breyer. Jackson will face tough questions from senators this week, including criticism on her record of the U.S. Sentencing Commission and Republican attacks claiming she's soft on crime. Jackson could be confirmed without any Republican votes if all 50 Senate Democrats stick together. But President Biden wants bipartisan support.
For too long, our government, our courts haven't looked like America. And I believe it's time that we have a court that reflects the full talents and greatness of our nation.
If confirmed, Judge Jackson would be the first black woman to sit on the high court in its more than 200-year history.
Here are some of the other headlines for you this morning. We start with Portland's latest shooting. It happened in the Buckman neighborhood early yesterday. Police responded to Southeast 8th in Washington and found a person shot to death on the sidewalk. No word yet on a suspect or the name of the victim. Anyone with information should contact Portland police. An overnight fire at this Beaverton apartment complex left 10 people without a home. This happened at Menlo Drive and Allen Boulevard around 8:30 last night. Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue found 2 units on fire, and the flames were spreading through a shared attic. Crews say fire, smoke, and water damaged 4 units total, but no one was hurt. The Red Cross is now helping the families affected. And Portland police recovered a stolen U-Haul carrying 1,100 pairs of Yeezy Adidas sneakers. Police haven't said where the shoes came from, but they arrested someone for stealing them. The shoes are worth an estimated $250,000. And those are some of your Monday morning headlines.
Well, there's an island in the Columbia River right near Bonneville Dam in the Gorge called Bradford Island. And what we now know is it's highly polluted from decades of dumping dangerous chemicals. The EPA just listed it as a Superfund site. That status means more federal funds to clean up the pollution. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers used the island as a landfill for 40 years and was supposed to have cleaned it up. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley and Governor Kate Brown praised the EPA's decision as a step in the right direction.
Music to my ears. Let's dive in, let's get the plan, and let's get it done.
Oregon, along with the Yakima Nation and the state of Washington, have worked for over 20 years to see some forward progress in addressing this injustice.
The next step is for the EPA to set up the cleanup timeline. The Corps will still be responsible for the cleanup process, but the EPA will now oversee it.
Not to rain on anybody's parade, but why would it take 20 years to get somebody to go, yes, let's clean that up?
Is that a rhetorical
The government?
question?
The government moves slow.
All right, what do we see, ladies?
You said rain on the parade. There's no parade, but there is rain. That is a live look at our Wells Fargo Skycam. So spring break for a lot of Oregon families starting wet, but it's not going to end up that way.
No, it's going to be kind of a typical week. Spring break is often, you have a few really good days and a few days where it's like, today's one of those, Here's a look at the radar, the satellite flow. So all this just channeling and then what I call spilling down into our area. This is a ridging pattern offshore, and as it continues to strengthen, as it brings in some warmer air, you folks that live south could see the rain eventually break up at some point today. Right now, Eugene's on the southern end of this, and if anything, there will be a really slow inching movement to the north, I think, of the rain pattern. There is a heavier rain pocket right now coming into Portland much of the day today. But really not that unstable. So much of the day, the rain will be on the gentler side, but that's moderate rain in green and heavier rain right now in yellow. So that's proof that the rain can pick up and maybe will from time to time today. 43 Newport, 44 in Portland, the Dow's in the 40s, Pilton's in the 40s, and you got Bend at 36. Central Oregon expecting to get a little bit of rain eventually today. It should be dry, though, with some thin cloud cover for partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies in John Day, Burns, and Baker City. On the west side, here's Futurecast. Just a solid rain this morning at 8:30 through the commutes. Really no breaks through 2 o'clock. And then here we are this evening, 8 p.m. Now, eventually this will start to break up and get out of here. The rain ends overnight. We wake up to some clouds tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes sunny. And remember, this is warm air moving in. So we really ought to hit 70 tomorrow if we get developing sun during the morning hours. That's on Tuesday. All right, for today, though, low to mid 50s. Salem to the south, maybe a quarter of an inch of rain. You get higher amounts near the Columbia and up to the north. So maybe a half of an inch in Portland, 3/4 of an inch up in Longview. Temperatures here again right about 50 degrees. There's that day tomorrow, 70 degrees. Ladies, come on, give me some applause. Do something. Yeah, let's hear it. Woo! That's for Tuesday.
More. Yeah, we'll clap when it happens, okay?
Jeez.
Thank you, Rod. Well, spring break is exciting for most kids, but for others, it means they won't have access to school meals. Coming up in 2 minutes, how Beaverton volunteers are bridging that gap.